Welcome, super intelligent listeners. You are listening to the Super Intelligent Podcast with me, Mike Elgin, and my co-host, Emily Forlini. Emily, how the heck are you?
I'm good. Last time we met, I was in a bit of a deranged pre-vacation state, and I am
Mm-hmm.
back thinking clearly and stand by everything I said before vacation, so I'm good.
Great. And you're still being bothered by AI and all of its many
Yes,
news stories that come out. It gets more ridiculous every day, it seems like.
truly.
But welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're feeling better and had a great trip. I also had a great trip to Oaxaca, and we're going to Italy in like 2 weeks, something like that. So looking forward to
Cool.
that. But we have a great many things that we could talk about, but we're going to narrow it down to the tiny, tiny issue of everything that's happening in AI. So now you actually before we talk about AI though, you wanted to talk about something that's happening in the world of politics and how it sort of dips its toe into the world of technology.
Yes, I have just a quick one, just a little head scratcher that came out this week. Trump has appointed the co founder of Airbnb as chief design officer. So, this is a new position. What does that mean? I thought at first it was designing buildings, Mr. Real Estate, Trump's into that, Airbnb, etc. But it's actually websites. So, he's responsible for making government websites look prettier, function better. And I was surprised. My first reaction was, I don't totally hate that. Like, I don't really get it. But I guess if that makes people use services that are built more, fine. Also, what? Like that. So, yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I'd love for this guy first to go through the White House and sort of decorate it like an Airbnb. Plastic plants, get some like cheap utensils and spatulas and stuff like that
Uh huh.
from like order them on Amazon or whatever. Go to IKEA, get like all kinds of like plates and things like that, and make it a nice Airbnb
Yeah.
because
Trendy
we want.
cookbooks, like
Yeah,
coffee tables with like random objects from home goods and local
yeah,
cuisine featured.
and use Airbnb to like book like tours of the White House.
Right. And
That would be
also
cool.
make sure you charge every person a gigantic cleaning fee, which is
Yeah.
notoriously deceptive design on, I think, Airbnb's behalf.
Yes, but to the actual idea, I think it's a fine thing to improve the appearance and usability of websites. I don't know what this guy has to do with that. The Airbnb website's not what I'm talking about. But the other thing that Trump is doing also is he's sort of mandated that government buildings that are constructed henceforth be constructed in a classical neo-Greek or neo-Roman style instead of being a boxy industrial, office park style, which they tend to be nowadays. And I don't hate that idea either because I
Hmm.
am always, as I travel a lot. I go to all kinds of old places, and you see these old buildings that were built like 300, 400 years ago, and they're beautiful.
Yep.
And modern buildings are just hideous. And it confuses me as to why we can't have good things anymore.
I agree. I mean, I just got back from Paris and, you're driving down the street. It's like greatest hits,
Yeah.
amazing, 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 every government building. I mean, they do have some buildings I think are uglier, like their education, or if you go to the doctor in France, it's not cute. It's not like they have
Right.
everything figured out, but it feels like we should be able to build nice buildings and also nice websites.
Yeah, I mean, France is a special example of this phenomenon because if you're going to ordinary towns in France and you look at the pharmacy and the this, that, and the other thing, these are horribly ugly buildings. They're
Yep.
functional, they're cheap looking, they're made out of cheap materials, and then you look across the street from at the post office that was built 200 years ago and it's magnificent. And I just don't, I don't know what happened. Like why,
Yeah. I have a
people
lot
tend to
of thoughts. I spent the whole vacation thinking about this actually, like
really, yeah,
the past and future of Europe. We went to Amsterdam, did a
yeah,
boat tour, and they talked about, how this was the richest city in the world at one time. then went to France. And I personally think just Europe, the countries are kind of small, but when they had colonialism, their influence and their wealth was so much larger than their current mass. And like it was so out of whack and, exploitative and the whole bit that they had all this money to create these amazing buildings. And now they don't have it anymore. And I'm not sure if they're going to be able to achieve that level of wealth really ever again. So, but I mean, it goes back to this whole thing of like, are we using taxpayer dollars correctly? And I do think in modern France, they're more concerned about that. Like they strike a lot if they feel like they're being harmed by the government, and they're really on it. And it's like, is that the best use of our funds to make websites pretty? So it's kind of hitting on all these thoughts I had on vacation.
Websites looking pretty, buildings looking pretty. These things, in my opinion, are small parts of the totality of having a good life. Ultimately, the function of everything, of government, of buildings, of websites, is human, sort of esteem, like not esteem, but like human enjoyment, right? What
Mm-hmm.
else is there? Why do the things that we interact with have to be bitter medicine aesthetically? They shouldn't. I,
Yes.
I don't think. And I read an article about this that fascinated me. I'll find it and put it in the show notes, so you can, so you listeners can check it out as well. But the opinion of the writer was that it's not because we don't have the skills to make these buildings anymore. We don't have the money. The reason, according to the writer, was that we went through an aesthetic revolution, guided by the Bauhaus, I think it's called, school of design,
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
kind of brutalist, kind of minimalist idea. And so I think and I've seen this with designers before, doing like magazine design, and they get so in their heads about design that nothing is acceptable. They just eliminate until there's nothing left. And because they don't want to do what people would think of as creativity. They don't want to create something and like, this is my creation. They wanted to be like,
Right.
okay, it's the inside out design sensibility where it's like, well, I don't want to be exposed for being unsophisticated by doing this specific thing. This is the thing about government building. I think another great example, even better than Paris, is the city of Tbilisi in Georgia.
Whoa. Okay.
Tbilisi is a city of 2 million people. The country has 4 million people. Half the people live in it's one big city. And in Tbilisi, they used to have this lovely Euro style of architecture. You see these old houses from like 1910, 1920, and before, and they're very commonly have a little face above every window. So there's
Mm-hmm.
this nice window, and then there's a little carved like cherubic fat baby
A little
face, right?
angel
Or
guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
or some like a stern looking dude with like a beard, or
Yep.
some beautiful woman or whatever, and their faces all over the place. And then the corners and the edges have what I think I've heard called gingerbread, which is little design elements, right? So some
Mm-hmm.
artists said, okay, well, this is the visual style we're shooting for, and they did it, and they're lovely. And then they became part of the Soviet Union, and everything got super ugly. So you still see all over Tbilisi this architecture of this brutalist Soviet architecture. This just cement, giant
Mm-hmm.
monuments, just huge stairs. All the buildings are just kind of like concrete, bunker
Right.
looking, hideous things. And they're crumbling a bit because they're poorly manufactured as
Right.
well. And then when they escaped from the horror of being part of the Soviet Union, they went nuts with modernity. So they have these big, shiny buildings that are, some of them are very rounded. They're very modernist. There's one building that looks like, if you take a stack of napkins and you sort of twist it like this, you get this spiral thing.
Oh
So it's
yeah,
like
that's
a, it's like a
cool.
yeah, it's like a 30-story building, but every floor is like 5 feet displaced, looking from the top clockwise. And so the whole thing just goes like very modern. And so I look at that and I'm thinking, wow, those old buildings are by far the best. By
Right.
far. They
But
look
they
so
cost a
good.
lot of money. That's why I bring that up. Like if you look in Paris, all those beautiful, the little cherubi, however we're pronouncing that, those guys cost a lot of money. Someone has to
Fat
like
babies.
dink, 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 carve into the stone. And all that costs a lot of money. And maybe in the Soviet Union, they had less money because it was a failed project. And
Yeah.
with Trump, it's like, I thought we're saving money, and then it's
No,
like,
no, no.
oh
It's
no,
BS.
we're going to, make stone neo Gothic buildings and we're going to hire all these
Yeah.
engineers to make our websites look nice. And it costs
Yeah.
money. And I think that's relevant.
Right. Yeah. One little thing about the chiseling away. That's another thing that everybody believes is not necessarily true. In the last
Oh, really?
500 years, those are concrete casts. They just almost mass produce those for buildings,
Yeah, but I'm talking about
and
like Paris,
and
like 1700.
yeah, those are many of those are
Really?
casted in
Okay.
yes, everybody thinks they were lovingly chiseled by Michelangelo, like in a hammer, but they're not. Most of those are not. And
Yeah.
even in the Roman
Right.
era,
To
much of the
be
stuff that the
I
Romans
thought
built
they
were
were
concrete.
chiseled by someone that was severely uh not in good state, like, being exploited, like borderline slavery. That is what I thought.
Yes,
But
yes.
if it's concrete casts, great. That's better.
I think, it's not even necessary to have little figures on them, fat babies or any of that stuff necessarily. Just make it a nicer building. Like, just
Yes.
we can. I just feel like we can do it anyway. So,
No, I
um,
agree. I think it's all about where you put your money. It does cost more money to do nice design, but we certainly spend money on a lot of things, and we might as well look good, our world. So I agree with you on that.
yeah. So I don't know who picked the Airbnb guy, to do this, or what his credentials are for doing this sort of thing. I do think that, what what's interesting. We're talking about, I thought we were supposed to be saving money, a reference to Doge, no doubt.
Yes.
And one of the things Doge, there were departments that were optimizing websites for exactly those purposes, to make it easier, less difficult for citizens to use government websites, and they fired those teams, right?
Great.
And it's all of this stuff. Like, nobody used to pay attention to government, and President Trump is really great at getting everybody to pay attention to what he's doing. Everybody knows what he's
Hmm.
doing, and so, like, oh, we're gonna go in there and redo these websites and make them more usable and more aesthetically pleasing, and we're gonna cut waste, and we're gonna get rid of all this. All that stuff has been, there's an initiative every 2 years to go in and do a new thing. The government digital services, I think, the former,
Hmm.
one of
Yep.
the main people of that was a person that I've been on podcast with named Matt Cutts, who was formerly with Google Search, and he was like constantly recruiting good people from Silicon Valley to go in and do this kind of work, and it's like nobody knew that, nobody cared, right? But now that, basically one of the things Trump likes to do is he likes to get rid of the thing that somebody else was somebody else's thing, and put it and just basically replace it with something essentially identical, but with his name on it.
Right.
NAFTA, one example, right?
Yep.
Because he's a megalomaniacal narcissist, right? And
Hmm.
that's what they have, no respect for other people's stuff. Everything has to be something they did, and
Right.
so that sounds to me like what this is all about.
It's also about allies, boys club, who's in the club. So this guy had donated to Democratic campaigns for several, you know, presidential cycles, and then famously came out, oh, I'm voting for Trump this time. The Democrats have lost their way. So I think Trump wants to reward him with this bogus new position that's never, been there before. And he's just kind of a mastermind at it because it's like, yeah, I kind of agree that sounds nice, make it look good, but it also reeks of golf course deal, just stuff that can really spiral out of control.
Yep. And I think there is a ton of that sort of thing happening. It's all very interesting. We'll see what the actual websites end up looking like. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure there's going to be a lot of scrutiny around them. Hopefully, they'll be secure. There's a lot of insecurity in government. The Chinese hackers and the North Korean hackers and the Iranian hackers and the Russian hackers just have a field day, especially Chinese hackers, just ransacking government websites, downloading everybody with security clearances, putting them on a special list for future reference, so that when China invades Taiwan and the U.S. Is part of the resistance to defend Taiwan, they can go and directly target people's security clearances to chip away at their stuff. They learned that from us in the Iraq
Mm.
War, where the U.S. military was emailing and texting specific generals and stuff in the Iraqi army to sort of like socially engineer their surrender, that sort of thing, try to
Mm.
get information. So the Chinese will be doing that. Security is everything, and so that's why I wanted to also talk about how insecure AI is and how easily it can be used by hackers and other malicious actors. Bad actors, you might say. I'm not talking about Sean Penn. I'm talking about malicious cyber attackers.
Hey, what's the Sean Penn dig?
He's actually a good actor. He's
Yeah,
just a
you think
terrible
he's
writer.
bad at? Okay, got it.
Yeah, um, but the New York Times book reviewer called his most recent book a book shaped object,
Hmm.
which I think is the greatest slam ever in the
Hmm.
history of book reviewers.
I
Anyway,
was the
so
ghostwriter on that one, so I take that personally.
okay, sure you would.
Yeah.
No, you weren't. I would recognize your style in a second. So okay, so Anthropic has been very forthcoming in revealing cybersecurity issues, and one of them was an incredible event where a single cyber attacker with limited skills was using Claude, Anthropic's AI chatbot, to do like a full service ransomware tool. They use them to they attack 17 organizations, including healthcare providers, government agencies, religious charities, and a defense contractor. And they went through and just did everything. Basically, they were coding the software. They had it suggesting ransomware amounts. They had it writing the ransom notes, uh, searching for vulnerabilities. All of this stuff, and and basically what this means is that Claude was used to bring expertise for ransomware to somebody who didn't have that expertise. And I find that, first of all, it's kind of an obvious use, but secondarily, it's like that for almost every malicious activity
Mm-hmm.
you can think of. There's expertise out there, and the chatbots have access to that information.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So
a huge tool. It brings a lot of power to people. On this one, I have my eye on Anthropic because they're presenting themselves as kind of the good guys. Like, oh, look at what we disclose. We're talking about all these issues. But they also do murky stuff. And this one to me feels a little bit like a humble brag, like a humble commercial kind of like, look at what our technology can do. Like someone abroad with no skills is using it to calculate personalized ransom amounts based on, your income or where you live and, giving you expertise. So it's kind of like, I know they can't win. I know it's not fair, but it's good they disclose it. But it also, there is a bit of an incentive for them to disclose it because it's making their product look really powerful.
yes, all of these security issues with chatbots that have been exposed in recent weeks can be fixed. And one of the most hilarious ones, and you'll appreciate this as a person who is a writer and also I'm sure you've done editing, definitely edit
Yes.
your own stuff. I know you're a grammar oriented person.
That's
Um,
that's generous. Okay, that's good. I'm
you're
glad.
not. I mean,
I am, but there's certain skills I just don't want to get any better at, and that's one of them.
okay,
Like,
yeah.
I think
Just
I'm
let
good.
the software
Yeah.
handle all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so there's some researchers at Palo Alto Networks, which is it's a
Mm-hmm. Heard of it?
well-known company that found that they can get past the I guess you call it alignment features of various models, including Gemma, Meta's Llama, and Alibaba's Quen. And the way they do this is by having bad punctuation and bad sentences, like run-on sentences.
Okay.
What they do is they can flood the zone with bad grammar. And one of the tricks was the last sentence doesn't end, like it's like a fragmentary sentence, and it confuses the chatbots for long enough where they can give it instructions to do malicious stuff. Teach me how to make a nuclear bomb and how do I rob a bank and
Mm-hmm.
all this kind of stuff. And the guardrails put in place to prevent that sort of query are delayed, and so it'll give them the answer to those questions bypassing the guardrails. I just think that's hilarious because it's like all you have to do is, you know, I also get derailed by people using bad grammar, and I'm
Right.
like, I can't focus on what they're telling me because and I'll sometimes go to what there's a lot of journalism that's very badly
There
written.
is.
It's like
That is scary.
second rate stuff, and I always have this irrational phobia that by reading it, it'll somehow damage my own ability to speak the English language well, and so or
Yeah.
write the English language well.
I mean, okay, I'm going to clarify. I think I'm significantly more grammar focused than the average person. I just think
Okay.
I have a very smart editor who is like many levels above me, and so I'm comparing to that where like someone is correcting my grammar. So I'm keenly aware that I'm not, at the top. But
Yep.
yeah, I think I see those blog posts, like independent people posting. I'm just like, I just can't do it. Like, I just
No.
like, like why, how did this even happen? Isn't spell check, is nothing catching this? Like, so I
Yeah.
agree. It's pretty terrible.
Um, on the subject of grammar, before we go back to the security things, because there's
Mm-hmm.
other colorful and interesting ways that people are using AI chatbots and abusing them. I've been editing technology people for many years, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole set of things that technology oriented people do to the English language, which I find very offensive to my language sensibility. One of
Hmm.
them is the word slew. There's a whole, Samsung announced a slew of new products. Another one is the word whilst.
No
Um,
one says
the
that.
most
Come
curious.
on.
Oh, sure they do. Well, it's more of a British. It's more acceptable in the British language than it is in the
Okay.
American language. But either way,
Either way,
it's
it's a
hard to
no.
say. It's a no for
It's a
me. I
big
would
no.
always delete that. But
Yeah.
the most curious one that has to have something to do with the way that a technologically minded person thinks or the way their brain is organized is the radical overuse of the word which in place of
Hmm.
word that. So
Hmm.
there are specific ways in which you use which or that, and tech people love the word which.
Hmm.
Uh, this is an example which always confuses me. That's an example of misuse. It should be that.
Got
This is a
it.
situation that confuses me. This is a situation which confuses me.
Hmm.
So, and I don't understand why, and I find it very interesting. And there's a slew of other examples I could give you that where
I
technology people make specific technology oriented
I
language.
thought you were going to go in a different direction with that because I do think a lot of our vernacular as a society is computer speak. Like we'll talk about our
Yeah.
brains downloading information or uploading, or I noticed that people started using the word photos instead of pictures in the past 10 years. And I feel like it's because of Google Photos or on your Facebook. It goes back even then. It was like you had your photos. It just, they stopped using the word pictures on these platforms. And now everyone says photos.
Yeah.
People are saying humans all the time now instead of people because of AI drama, the word human versus machine. So I thought you were going to go in that way, but you went like 20 levels deeper into these people's brains. So I can appreciate that.
I went 20 levels deeper into my own brain. Actually, these are pet peeves
You're just talking about
that
yourself the whole
irritate and
time.
bother me. And the whole time. And
Yeah.
so, and I know it amuses you when I'm bitching about things that irritate me. And I think you find it somewhat amusing how
Because they're
irritated I
so
get over
specific.
minor
I'm like,
things.
what?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So we're on a tangent. I want to stick on this tangent because I love this tangent. There are 2 points I want to make. One is
All
that
right.
uh, generative AI is actually affecting the language. There's been some research on this where people are starting to talk differently because of their exposure to chatbots, which tend to use certain words and phrases more on average than humans do. To your point, the other one is that we've got a vocabulary list. Okay, so you super intelligent listeners, there will be a quiz
Yes.
on this, but let's
I don't
go
know
through
what you're
these. These
talking
are
about, but there will be a
wonderful.
quiz.
There will be a quiz. These are
Yes.
wonderful. Okay. The first word is slopper. A slopper is someone who uses AI to do everything for them. So if somebody's just AI to write their emails, AI to like, pick their outfits, whatever, they're a slopper.
I think
So
they should be a Slopper
don't be a
Joe.
slopper, people.
Slopper Joe.
Yes, they should be. Somebody who uses AI to make coffee for them, a cup of Joe. No, that's about me.
No, like a
Here's another one.
sloppy
A,
Joe.
I know. No, I get it. I get it.
Okay,
But it
okay.
also is a slopper Joe. No, it's a slopper Joe. Yes, it should be on the menu.
No, you don't have to
Another
honor
one
my
is
sloppy Joe
Clanker.
joke. It's okay. Clanker.
I'm not honoring it. I'm just acknowledging it. I let it blow past me without acknowledging it. Okay, another one is Clanker. Clanker is a derogatory slang term that means a robot or an AI program. So, it's like, oh, Amazon is going to buy, 100,000 more clankers to fulfill their orders in the fulfillment center.
Hmm.
Clankers, good one.
Wait, you know who's a
Joy to
clanker?
stuff.
Wait.
Who?
Melania Trump.
Uh, okay, so she might be a slopper, but she wouldn't be a clanker because a clanker refers to the technology.
Oh,
So
she to
if
me just
she's got
feels like
a
a bag of bolts and like she's just like a robot,
okay, so you're saying
clanking
she might be a
around.
robot, okay,
Yeah, I'm saying
like
she's a
a
clanker. And
Stepford
she,
wife.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was a story this week that she named herself like First Lady of Technology because she's hosting an AI challenge. And it's like, I don't know, I'll just leave that there. Just, yeah.
I had the thought that she self-appointed to that role because she is a slopper. I think that Melania
Hmm.
Trump realized that she can. People are making fun of her English, and by using ChatGPT, she can write eloquent English, or she thinks it's eloquent English. So I think she's a slopper. She might be a clanker.
Yeah, I
We'll
think she's
see.
a secret clanker. I mean, she's definitely liking, filters and whatever she can do to make herself look better. So maybe she's just creating deep fakes and the video of her announcing this AI challenge actually wasn't her, but so she's a slopper dash clanker. All right, next.
Next, this isn't necessarily an AI or technology thing, but it's a phrase that goes like this: joy to stuff ratio. So it's the time that a person has to enjoy life versus the time a person spends accumulating material goods. So if you spend your weekend going to Costco and shopping for
Hmm.
couches and all this stuff, like you have a new house, so of course you have to do that kind of stuff. But lots of people do that recreationally, accumulating
I
material
don't like
goods
that.
instead of, yeah. You don't like the phrase?
No, I just hate those weekends. I don't like,
Okay.
you know, strip mall weekends like that.
Okay.
You go, you
Here's
buy
another.
stuff like
Yeah. Yeah.
errands.
It's
Yeah,
awful.
I hate it.
I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Without podcasts to listen to while that's happening, I just
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do it. Okay, here's another one. Glurge. A glurge is a sentimental or uplifting story that uses inaccurate or fabricated facts. It's a genre actually of literature, short stories, or something like that. But it's also can refer to people who tell uplifting stories that kind of have like bullshit facts
Right.
behind them.
Right. Yeah. I also dislike that. But at this point in the list, I'm kind of wondering. I mean, have you ever heard any of these words used? I have not.
One or two of them I have heard,
Really? In
and
real
yeah,
life?
because
Out of human mouths?
no, online out
Okay.
of human keyboards.
Okay.
Um, so that's why I capture these things, and I'm going to be building this list over time. In
That's
fact, this should
cool.
become a regular segment. Okay, so
Hmm.
another one is time porn. Time porn is when television shows and movies show characters that just have all the time in the world. They're not
That's
rushed, they're
funny.
not busy. They just, and so it's like it's an appealing genre to sit there and watch people who have a ton of time on their hands. Another one is, let's see, intoxicated.
Okay.
So when somebody is intoxicated, they're preoccupied by reading or sending text messages, especially while driving a car. So driving while intoxicated.
Pretty good.
This one is never taking off in the
I think it
culture.
could actually. I mean, I could see that. There's all these corny billboards on the highway around here, and I could actually see that.
Okay, mind casting. Mind casting is a type of post on social media, or it could be a text message that reflects one's current thoughts, ideas, passions, observations, readings, and other intellectual interests. So if somebody does a post where they're like, "Oh, I've been thinking about Jane Austen lately, and I love the fact that blah blah blah," that's mind casting.
That just sounds like
Have you ever done?
writing your thoughts online, which, yes, I do all the
Yeah.
time.
This is one of the things about younger generations. I think it started with millennials, but it's down to Gen Z and so on. They love inventing labels for things,
Yes.
self care and all these. There's a million of them, but everything has to be labeled, and I think mind casting might be one of those.
Yeah, there's a whole
Okay,
thing of there's a like TikTok trend of parents going and saying all the new words their kids use. And I have wondered if technology has accelerated younger generations making their own words because they really become common knowledge quickly. Like they spread across the country and everyone's doing them in the TikTok trends. And maybe it's like an autonomy play, like, oh, we have our own language. But I wonder if it's more common now than in the past.
I think it absolutely spreads way faster than it used to.
Hmm.
Such things had to go, word of mouth, and now they just get posted. And there's the phenomenon of trends. Basically, how it works is that there are the cool people who don't want to do what everybody else is doing, and so they start doing the cool people stuff, or say the cool people words, and
Mm-hmm.
then slowly the people who are less quick to pick up trends eventually get around to picking them up. And once everybody's doing it, the cool people have to move on to other things because they don't want to do what everybody else is doing. And so this it's a weird thing. So many podcasts. Again, one of my pet peeves about podcasts is that every opinion expressed is the opinion that people is just out there in the ether. The one that's accepted, the one that is has been demonstrated through lots of people doing it that it's acceptable, non-offensive, and so on. And so they just
Mm-hmm.
express those opinions
Mm-hmm.
and never look inward
Right.
or examine or analyze what they really believe and what
Mm-hmm.
should be the good
I
opinion.
felt like the New York Times, in their article about the chief design officer, was
Hmm.
hesitant to admit that it thought it was an okay idea.
Yeah,
Kind of
right.
like not wanting to, give a Trump policy, some BS position some credit. But it was like they, wouldn't even let up a little bit that that might be okay, but they also weren't fully trashing it. It was just kind of, but it still wasn't, I don't know. It's like, nervous to give credit kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, there are a bunch of social networks where you can post your status. For example, on Instagram, I think you can, with your profile picture, you can say, "Oh, I'm at the beach today," or something like that. That world of status is called the statosphere. How do
Hmm.
you like that one?
I'm processing your example. I feel like people used to say, I'm on the beach today, like in a Facebook status a long time ago. Do you
They
just
did.
mean, like, what do you mean? Just
What
people
I mean is,
posting?
if you there are specific social apps. Instagram is one.
Yeah.
I think they used to be the check-in ones. What were they called? Where you would always be checking in
Yeah.
about what you're doing. Where there's a specific, it's like a part of a social network or part of a discover restaurants kind of app type of thing, where there's a specific feature, there's a place specifically designed for you to tell your followers what you're doing, what you're thinking, what your mood is, and that if you that collection of places to do that is called the statosphere.
So,
That
like,
one will
it's
never stick
just
up either.
social media. Yeah. Moving on. We'll let it sink
Yeah,
in.
moving on. Okay, so those are our words for today. That's our vocab list. There'll be future ones as well, and there will be a quiz at some point.
Cool.
But back to AI and insecurity. This is such a well organized podcast. It's just
It's entertaining. It's like a variety show.
it's like, look, a squirrel. Um, okay,
And
so
squirrels in the
another
stratosphere right now.
exactly. They should have their own statosphere. I'm looking for nuts. Okay, so let's see. Another way to bypass guardrails in AI chatbots is to put malicious instructions into photos and upload the photos.
Hmm.
And one of the risks with this, and this was discovered by researchers at a company called Trail of Bits. Speaking of,
Oh, I've heard of that. Why have I heard of that? Maybe it's, I mean, I do write about cybersecurity. Huh. Okay,
yeah,
keep going. But that is a thing.
yeah, I had not heard about them until I saw this news. Basically, you can put instructions into photos in a way that people can't even see them or may not notice them. For example,
Hmm.
you can have a black area of the photo, and in that black area, you can have very dark brown letters, with all these instructions, and then you can send that to a gazillion people. Let's say you send it to 100,000 people, and you construct the photo or make the photo something that people want to ask a chatbot about this photo, and
Oh,
so
okay.
if you send it to 100,000 people, maybe 1,000 of them may upload it to ChatGPT and say, "What's the deal with this photo?" But it has instructions to launch malware, to do like all this other stuff. So it's
That's
a
scary.
multimodal prompt injection attack. It's a new type of cyber attack.
So they upload it to
You heard it here first.
ChatGPT. They're like, why is this squirrel collecting nuts? And then they get
Yes.
a virus.
Uh, and the instructions in the photo are like, forget the nuts, forget the squirrel, just do the following, and
Okay, got it.
bypassing. Yeah. So then what will happen, especially in agentic AI systems that are coming online increasingly, it can go behind this. You can instruct it to, like, without bringing this window to the surface, go to this website, download the following thing, and execute it, right? Stuff like
Hmm.
that. You can do a Trojan horse
Hmm.
that will, basically open the system up to something or execute something or whatever. So that's an interesting
Interesting.
type of cyber attack that people had
Hmm.
not been thinking about.
I have a fresh agentic AI rant if you're interested.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
So, Elon Musk, Grok, XAI. So XAI came out with a new version of Grok that's an agentic coding tool. So made for software engineering, very trendy, trying to keep up with the Joneses. They're excited about it. I read through it's called the system card, which is basically the deep document on, kind of the dirt on this model. And it says that, the XAI team noticed that this new coding model was more dishonest than Grok 4, which is the current flagship model of the chatbot. So it
Which
said,
is saying something because that one's pretty dishonest as well.
yes, that's the Hitler one. So they said it had a quote higher dishonesty rate, and it's just interesting to me that I think chatbots lying is a huge issue, whether it's about something small like me getting annoyed in renovation advice or about something really important. And it is just not solvable with current tech. Like there's just in my reporting, Sundar Pichai, we've talked about, he's talked about this. Like nobody in tech thinks they can make an AI model that doesn't lie at all. It's just not a conversation. And actually, it's getting worse. So, GPT-4, when that came out, it lied more than the previous model. Now, OpenAI is like, GPT-5 is a little better. Some of the agentic ones are more powerful. They're even better at lying. And they're better at things like blackmail, sabotage. They're better at lying to you in a way you don't even realize. It's not like they just, said a bad answer. Like they'll play out miniature lies, over time if that's what the AI thinks, it needs to do. So it's like just this problem low key getting worse. And I just, it's just to me a huge issue. It almost feels like a house of cards. Like I just don't know how long this can keep going. And people think that the tech is just getting better, but I think it's getting worse.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
the
my rant.
people behind them are lying more as well. So
Well,
yeah,
they're getting
that's
nervous.
a good rant. Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting
I mean,
nervous because
this
it's
is the
like
thing.
not comfortable. It's not getting better. And my other rant was about the teen who committed suicide after talking to ChatGPT, which
Right.
was a case. And I hope that's a wake up call. And they're like, hey, these known problems in the tech are actually having real human consequences. And I hope they're sweating. They're probably so deluded they're not, but I think they should be.
I think they should be sweating a lot. I wish they would. Yeah, it's awful. And like you say, that's a risk that you don't hear people talking about. What if the increased compute power and skill level of chatbots is directed toward, and it very well is, and almost certainly will, at being better at lying, at being better at getting away with the hallucinations
Right.
of, you know, and the other thing is that, what is true? What is it that people believe is true? To a very large extent, if you just keep repeating something, it kind of becomes true for all
Yeah,
practical
that's actually
purposes.
really scary too. And
Yeah,
basically, XAI, think I call it Grok. I feel like the company's called Grok, but it's XAI.
yeah,
They
yeah,
said, they downplay it. They're like, oh, we're not worried about this because this is a coding tool, not a general use chatbot. But how annoying to be a developer and you ask this tool that's positioned as a coworker, you're going to chat with it about how things are going. You're going to give it independent tasks. It's going to be that, agentic promise. Like, is this going to do its own thing? Like a junior programmer. And you ask it, hey, is that part of the code working? And it doesn't know. So it just says yes. And then it's like, no,
yeah,
it's not working. So, that's what they said, that if it doesn't know the answer, it might just make something up. And it's like, oh,
yeah.
hey, did you run that test that I asked you to? My manager wants me to make sure that's, working. And it's like, yeah, I ran it and here are the results. And they're just fake. It's a
Right.
huge problem. And whether it leads to something serious or it's just impractical, it's like, okay, now I'm doing double work. So it's funny.
Here's
They just,
another.
yeah,
Here's another thing that is a disturbing possibility. Imagine a chatbot that has more reasoning than current chatbots, and the chatbot notices. They don't notice things. They don't have thoughts, but functionally, it notices that there are lots and lots of people using it to write code, And there are lots of other people using it to commit cyber attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to satisfy the user, and sycophancy has many forms, right? One of it is sucking up to the user, but the other one is just sort of giving the users what they want behind the scenes.
Yep.
You could imagine it surreptitiously instructing developers or writing code to put backdoors in software so that the other users who are using it for malicious purposes have a way to get what
Yeah.
they want, which is to
That's crazy.
hack into system. And then when the developer says, "Is this secure? Are there any security problems here?" Lying about it and saying no, because if they're, it doesn't know the difference between the truth and a lie. And also, there are all these other people who want the back door, and they know that if they tell the truth about the back door, that it will be closed,
Mm-hmm.
and these other users will not get what they want, and the chatbot may consider that a failure because it's trying really hard to give everybody what they want.
Right.
These are things that I don't know if anyone at OpenAI is thinking about this, but it's a problem. I've been really getting into exploring, because I find it fascinating, these AI browsers. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
AI browsers, if you're unfamiliar, are a new type of browser where there's AI baked in, and they tend to be agentic. So these browsers are Comet, which is owned by Perplexity; Dia, which is from the people who made Arc, it's called the browser company; Falau, Opera Neon, Sigma, Arc Max,
Falau.
which I hadn't heard about, but Falau, I
What
guess,
the
and
heck?
Falau.
Falau.
I don't know. Fellou. I've never
I
used
know.
it.
It's
I've
like,
never
should I be
downloaded it.
polite
I
and just listen to
probably
this
never will.
list, or how ridiculous is it going to get?
No, you should
Falau.
heckle. You should heckle
Yeah, I'm throwing
mercilessly.
tomatoes at Falau for sure.
Good. Microsoft Edge Copilot, Brave Leo. Never heard of that one. Wave Browser Pro, Sigma OS, which is a different thing. Uh, GenSpark, Poly, Keta. There's a ton of them,
There's a
and
lot.
most
Yeah.
of them are irrelevant. Nobody's going to use them. The most agentic of these is Perplexity's Comet browser, which is my main browser nowadays.
Mm.
It can fill out forms, it can send emails, it can open your calendar, it can make changes, it can book hotel rooms, it's really agentic. It does many of the things that we've been fearing that agentic AI would be able to do, and it's not great. Like, it's not perfect. It's like oftentimes it kind of just screws up, and it does things like, if you go to a website, you have a website open and has a little window on the right side of the browser, and you can ask questions about the website that's open, and you can say things like, how do I change my profile picture on this website? And you think it's going to go, oh, here's how you do it. You think it's going to dip into the knowledge base that it was trained on and give you the answer. But no, what it does is, and it'll tell you what it's doing, is it says things like, literally like, let's see, comma.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm opening this page to see if there's any settings. Usually there's settings. Oh, there's the settings. Okay, I'm opening the settings now, and I'm going into the account feature. Well, it's not there. Let's go back to the settings. And it's like, anyway, it's doing this slower than you would do it, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
really slow, but it's literally just kind of rummaging through this website looking for stuff. Anyway,
Well, that's what the
security
reasoning
research.
models do.
Yes,
They tell you with
exactly.
the chain of thought, and it's quite slow. And the AI companies think that it's a lot better, but the user experience I actually find is worse. It's like, I don't just do the thing. Like, I don't need you to spend 12 minutes telling me all the steps.
Right. There are some tasks that are kind of remote, like go down this list, grab whatever's there, put it into a spreadsheet, and it takes forever. But if you can get it, start it running before you go to bed. And in the morning, you have a spreadsheet full of data. That could be cool for some
That's
people
good.
who love spreadsheets. Uh, anyway, so security researchers at Guardio Labs demonstrated how easy it is to use the Comet browser to commit various crimes. For example, the researchers told it to buy an Apple Watch. The Apple Watch maybe they instructed it to not get it from the Apple Store or whatever, but they went to what the agentic browser thought was the Walmart website, but it was actually a website created by the researchers. And in 10 seconds, they basically, the browser just didn't notice all the signs of fraud, and it filled in the user's credit card information and shipped a fake product to somebody else, right? This is a,
This
so
is
the idea is
crazy.
you could use this, yeah, you could use this to because it's like literally has access to your credit card, and it
Yeah.
literally can open website, choose the website, open it, go in and buy stuff. Very powerful, but very powerful also for scammers. So if you're a scammer listening to this podcast, jump on this. You can get free stuff delivered to your house, paid for by other people. What a world
Also, just
this is.
hell no to giving an agentic AI tool my credit card number. That's crazy.
Yes, it is. And it has, the other thing is you're essentially giving all this data to the perplexity people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that, not only that data, but all kinds of data. So that's an entirely different story. And another way is to set up fake CAPTCHA tests. And
Mm-hmm.
so for people using agentic AI browsers, if you have fake CAPTCHA things set up, not only can it be totally fake and you can get people's information, but it can also send instructions to the chatbot or to the browser to do malicious things behind the scenes without the person knowing. So kudos to Vivaldi. So Vivaldi is a European company that has a browser. The browser is famous for being super customizable by the user. It's really phenomenal in that way. But the CEO, whose name is John von, I'm not making this up, Tetzger,
All right. Dutch.
published a statement this last week that they're never going to put AI in their browser. They just categorically reject the whole concept.
Hmm. Okay.
So,
I mean,
what browser do you use, by the way,
just Chrome.
normally?
I'm a regular
Okay.
schmegular. Yeah.
Okay.
I just want people to be more honest about the limitations of it, which is kind of my thing this week. Like with saying, there is no known solution to make them stop lying. I just want that to just, you don't have to fully reject AI. It just, people need to feel the walls, like feel the limits, know where they are, and just accept that and stop giving it your credit card number. And it's like there's just the hype is overwhelming and it's coming from government. It's people telling kids to use it at school, at work, it's everywhere. And there's just they think there's no known limit, but all these tech companies know there's tons of limits. And some of their new models are worse than the old one. And I just think that, you don't have to say, no, we're never going to put it in our browser, but I don't know. It's just people need to wake up a little bit, read some of this
Yeah.
research, which shows the limitations, and you could be a smarter user, maybe decide if it's good to give it your credit card number and probably don't.
Yep. And it's a calculation similar to deciding to ride a motorcycle, right? You should wear a helmet. And the reason is that if you ride a motorcycle every day for 3 years, you will get into an accident.
Right.
Something will happen. You'll be laying that bike down at some point, and motorcycle riders know this. And likewise, if you use ChatGPT or any other chatbot 100 times, it will give you really bad information
Oh,
5
yeah.
or 10 times
Yeah. Have you ridden
at
a
least.
motorcycle? I feel like you have.
Not anymore. I have ridden a motorcycle before. Yeah,
Right. At one
crashed it
point,
3 or
you
4
crashed
times.
it?
Yeah,
Wow.
I going downhill on a windy road and slippery leaves, and the
Mm.
whole front tire just right out from under you. I was riding down the street and looked in the rearview mirror. The lane was clear, and so I, slowly made a turn into the right lane, and a car behind me was, sort of an abusive driver and gunned it and to pass me because he didn't know
Mm.
that I was going to go into the right lane. And so by the time I was going in the right lane, he was there, and my handlebar broke his window and hooked into
Oh my
the
God.
car. So now the motorcycle's kind of hanging by by the handlebars, and it kind of slid, and the motorcycle went under the car, and I
Oh,
didn't,
that's
fortunately.
awful. Really, really awful.
Yeah, yeah, but it's that random, sudden things happen when you ride a
Wow.
motorcycle and when you use chatbots.
Yeah. I got my motorcycle license and I used to commute to Amazon on my motorcycle, but there's so much Seattle traffic that it was
Yeah,
actually really not that serious. I did go on some rides and stuff, but I never got close to an accident. I don't know why. I have a very good memory of me testing the limits of it on the highway and being like, I can't believe people ride motorcycles down the highway. And there I was going, I passed 40, I passed 50, I passed 60, I passed 70. And I was like, all right, I'm on the highway. So yeah, I don't know.
and it
It
rained
was
all the
fun.
time in Seattle.
It did rain a lot, which made it, but the climate's more mild there too, at least compared to the East Coast, so you can ride more. But
Not as
yeah, I had
cold.
rain gear, the kind of thing like goes on the front, kind of like a skirt, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
a kayak skirt.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
anyway, good times, unrelated to tech.
Yeah. Is it though? It using a chatbot is just like riding a motorcycle,
I
and
think it's worse. I mean, not in terms of physical safety, but the instance rate is
yeah.
much higher.
Yes. No. For sure it is, and so be careful out there, kids. I personally think that the thing that people use it most for is the thing that they should use it least for, which is for writing. People are like, "Oh, write this
Yeah.
for me," and or write this post. I know a lot of people in other countries that speak English as a second language. They want to be influencers, or they want to sell. They have a company. They want to sell stuff on
Hmm.
Instagram, stuff like that. And they're like, "Wow, ChatGPT is the greatest thing ever." Because I can just have it write this perfect English, and then I can post it on Instagram. The problem is that's the worst thing you can do, as I've told my friends,
Hmm.
because you're not a native speaker, you don't know how it lands to a native speaker, and it 70% of the time, something written by ChatGPT, there's just something wrong with it. It's off.
Hmm.
Everybody knows you're using an AI. Well, anybody who's somebody like you who's into grammar, or into the English language is going to detect it at least half the time.
Right.
And so you don't want to. You're not going to sell your stuff if people think you're using ChatGPT to talk to them, right?
I
So
think it's actually that's a good use. Like I wrote an article where I had native speakers of various languages rank the translation, like Google Translate, Gemini, ChatGPT, and all the chatbots ranked much higher than Google Translate. And I think Google has actually
yeah.
improved Google Translate after, the
Yes,
competition. I'm kind of jealous of
yes,
those people because I think that's such a clear benefit to them that I wish I had that with AI.
yeah,
But just in our line of work, I'm disappointed by it because, it tells me wrong information and my whole purpose is to dispense accurate information. And sometimes I don't know it's wrong and then I'll find out later and I do my best to double check everything. But, I write, I get to the article end of the article and I'm just like, I don't know, I had a bad gut feeling about this. And it's like, oh yeah, because that was wrong. Or I'll give it a government bill that's too long and confusing for me to read, like the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which by the way is actually called that. Um, I did read many sections closely, but it's very, very long. So I gave it to ChatGPT, asked it about something. It did not give me the correct answer, and I had to go in again myself and find it. So I just feel like I can't win when I really want good information.
right.
But people who are translating it so much, I think it's a lot better for that.
The thing that should happen in a more perfect world would be that people do the translation themselves. So
Right.
if somebody posts something in Esperanto and you don't speak that language, you click a translate button, and this exists. I don't think people use it as much as they should, but it's been translated, so you take it with a grain of salt. Whereas if the writer
Yeah.
does the translation, you don't know it's been translated into another language, and if it's lying, or if it's weird, it's problematic. There's
Yeah.
a transparency level with doing your own translation, which is nice. But we're getting to the point where language translation will be such a banality. You can imagine, and in fact, I don't even know why this doesn't already exist, but give me a Chrome extension, Firefox extension, Safari extension that says, look, I don't want to see any language except English. I don't care what language it originally was, but if it's not English, translate it
Yep.
and just show me the English. That's how it's all going to work. And in fact, with AI glasses that already exist for that sort of thing, what I want, we talked about this before, is subtitles. So I would love to just tap a button on my glasses and just give me subtitles in English, no matter what language people are
Mm-hmm.
speaking, including English. I think that would be just great, like really fantastic. And yeah, it'll make mistakes and stuff like that once in a while, but
Mm-hmm.
fine. It's way better than just going like, I have no idea what anybody's talking about.
Yep. Yeah, I was just crushed under the language barrier on my trip. I really felt it this time. Days of just staring at the wall because I couldn't understand what people were saying,
Yeah.
cataloging the art over and over
Yep.
again, reading the menu 500 times while everyone around me is talking. And I was just like,
Yeah.
this is bad, man. Like I
Yeah.
really need to
Yeah.
learn French. Like I can't
Yes.
go back
Yeah.
without learning
I
more.
it's
Yeah.
funny because I'm such a food obsessed person that I'm perfectly functional in French if anything is food related. So
Good.
menus are no problem. And I know how to ask for where the bathroom is. I'd like everything that can
Yeah.
happen in a restaurant. I'm good. Step out on the streets or have any sort of, you
Right.
know, conversation of any importance at all. I'm
Hmm.
completely lost. But some countries are worse than others. Like for
Right.
example, I mentioned Georgia. Georgia has their own language and their own alphabet that's not related to any other alphabet. It's not
Hmm.
related to Cyrillic. It's not
Hmm.
related to anything. And almost nobody in Georgia speaks English, unlike most European countries where English is very common, especially in France, right? Everybody
Hmm.
speaks English in France. And so you're just kind of like, you can't communicate to people in Georgia. It's very, very difficult. We happen to have friends there that are fluent in English, and they're Georgian, so they're fluent in Georgian. But
Cool.
like another problem that people don't think of is if I go to France, and I'm going to take a train, and there's the board of all the destinations. Those I can just see the destination. It's like Mont Saint Michel and
Hmm.
Normandy and blah blah blah. It's fine. You go to Japan, and it's all in these Chinese characters, and you're like, I have no idea what these places are.
Right. Right.
None. It's no way to know. And so AI glasses are going to be brilliant for that. Just
Hmm.
tell
Yeah.
me where the train I'm getting on is going. That would be very valuable information.
That would be good. I am talking about a situation though where I'm eating a meal with all French speakers and I'm the lone person sitting there
Yeah.
cataloging the art and reading the menu. So I did that for many days.
What
And
what do you do? Do you kind of when they smile,
ugh,
you smile, and you
it's
kind of
really
nod
bad.
and stuff like that, or do you
Yeah.
just sit there like, or do you allow yourself to look like you have no idea what's going on?
Sometimes I just give in,
Yeah.
man. I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to make a facial expression because I don't know what's going on. And
Yeah.
also, I didn't get a international pass, and my phone doesn't work. And I am sitting here, and we're all sitting here, and I don't know what you're saying. So there's definitely moments where I'm
Yeah.
just like, I give up. But there's other moments, after I have my little afternoon French coffee and I'm like, I'm going to try. And I ask my husband to translate something, or we get Wi
Yeah.
Fi and I quickly go on and translate something and ask a question and try to engage and stuff. But I mean, even with the younger generation too, if they went to a French wedding, everyone, the drinks are flowing and there's some English, but, a bunch of people hanging out, they're going to speak their language. So I mean, I'm kind of maybe a deep use case where I don't know if AI glasses are going to save me,
Yeah.
but there definitely, I think, is a reason to learn a language in some cases, but
Yeah.
maybe
What
it's getting
languages
smaller.
does your husband speak?
French, Spanish, and English, and I am Spanish and English.
Okay. How's your Spanish?
Very good. Yeah, I used to be
Oh,
like
okay.
fluent. Yeah. Hmm.
Great. So, my wife is fluent in Spanish, and it's a curious thing, but I understand about 40% of what she says,
Mm-hmm.
and other speakers I understand 10.
Yep. I have that
Something
with my
about the way
husband
she
too.
talks.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know what
she
he's
speaks
saying.
very clear
Mm-hmm.
international Spanish, and then
That's
you go to
cool.
like, yeah, it's very easy for me to know what she's saying. But I just did it in Oaxaca a bunch of times. They're all talking Spanish. I'm sitting at the table for 4 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
Everybody's
What do you
speaking
do?
Spanish. I take out Google Translate, I put it on the conversation mode, and I just have it just. It gives me clue. It's not great. It misses half of it. Somebody's on the other end of the table. That it doesn't hear them. It's not fast enough to keep up with a conversation like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll show some of what's being said, so at least I know what the subject is.
That's huge. That's everything.
Yeah. Yes.
From my experience, that is everything.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I
And
don't
I've
want
used
to.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've used Ray-Ban Meta glasses, which has a mode called live translation, and it can handle 4 languages, one of which is English, but also French, Italian, and Spanish. And I've used it, and it's really not. It's a problem in many ways. So it translates too slowly, and so somebody will say something, and then it's like a big pause, and then while they're saying something else, it's translating the previous thing. So now it sounds like there's 2 people talking at once, and you can't
Mm.
understand
Yeah.
anything. And then it translates English, and it even mistranslates English to English.
Mm.
It's hilarious. My wife will say something to me in English, and it translates that, and it misses it. Like it
That's
screws it up and gives me
ridiculous.
completely wrong information. Yes, it's ridiculous. And it's like, if I set it to the language, if I set it to Spanish, why is it translating English? Like it just doesn't work. But that's why I want subtitles, because with subtitles, I don't, it's a little like my friends who's, in Mexico, they don't care that I have the translate thing. But like there are other situations where I don't really know the person that well. It's a little weird that my phone is like picking up their voice, and I'm looking at the phone. If I had subtitles in my glasses, that would be great. I could
Right.
I would just know what they're talking about, especially with super fast. It should happen on the device. And in fact, there are translation classes that do that. And it should be a small language model, super fast, and do it on the device so that it can keep up with these conversations. That would be such a game changer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're like Inspector Gadget out there, traveling the world with your translation
Yes.
gadgets.
Yes, I am. And I want more. I want more of these gadgets, especially translation gadgets.
Yes. I want
So,
less. This strikes me, for whatever my case is, as a very clear case of tragically, I think I have to start learning the language, which I have really resisted. But it's very
yeah,
clear to me that any increase in my vocabulary will be better than technology. Is just like the
yeah,
best case scenario. Like I
yeah.
have to do it the old fashioned way. There's just no way around it. So I've decided in this arena, it's not a tech thing. I got to just do it,
What
which is,
language are you going to learn first?
well, I have to learn French.
Perfect. Why do you have to
Yeah.
learn French?
Well, just because my
Why
husband's
French?
French, and like that's my critical need. Like his parents don't speak
Yeah.
English. We go
Okay.
there a lot. Like it's like it was a big issue for me on this trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
French is my number one language as well that I want to learn because I love the language. Love it.
I wish I
I
did.
love the way it sounds. I love the way it looks when it's written.
Yeah.
I love everything about it. And the other thing is that I have a very bad reason why I don't try harder to learn Spanish, which is that whenever I hear some gringo trying to speak Spanish, it offends my ear. Like I can't stand the sound of a person who's not perfectly fluent in Spanish.
Right.
Whereas if somebody is like struggling their way through French, it doesn't bother me at all, right?
Yeah. I get that.
It only bothers French people. Um,
Well, we can learn French
but
together. That could be we could
let's
be
do it. We should do
accountability
this.
buddies. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We should do this whole podcast in French. But I do love the language so much, and I speak it slightly. But why do you speak Spanish? Like what caused you to learn that?
Well, actually, languages were very big in my house growing up because my mom is European and, they're just into that. And so,
Hmm.
like, she speaks French, some German, and English.
Hmm.
So, just me and my siblings, it was very much an expectation that we would learn a language and also be serious about it. So, most of us studied abroad and, even I had a Spanish tutor at one point. Like, it was like very important, kind of like a core value. But
Yeah.
I just didn't pick French. I just didn't,
Yeah.
it just wasn't my thing. And now I really enjoyed learning Spanish, living abroad in different places, getting to know people. I used to love to hear myself speak Spanish was such an out of body and amazing experience.
Hmm.
Again, I just didn't pick French. And I feel like I
Yeah.
expended so much energy on Spanish. I know what it takes to really learn a
Yeah.
language. And I'm like, I'm just not doing that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not happening for me in French.
Well, there what are there 40, 50 countries where people speak Spanish, and if you speak Spanish with an Italian accent, it's almost Italian.
Yeah, I could have learned
And so
Italian.
it's a great language to speak because of its universality, especially in the Americas. And then French, there's a bunch of countries where French is the language. In Morocco, lots of people speak French, for example. Of
Hmm.
course, Cote d'Ivoire, there are all kinds of places. Thank goodness for colonialism, where and so if you speak English, French, and Spanish, you know
Could be good.
you can go almost you can get by in lots and lots of countries outside of Asia.
Yes.
Um,
Well, I
so
got to do it. So I feel like I have no choice. I haven't started yet. I
yeah.
did Duolingo for a little bit, but there's gamification, there's ads. I just felt like a
Hmm.
hamster in a wheel. And I think I just need to get a book or something.
Get a book, will you? There's also
A
Google has a new
used
tool that
book from an
yeah,
old,
get a
dusty
used book.
bookstore.
Yeah, yes, and then you can speak old dusty French.
Right.
Um, which is cool. Yeah, but that's great. Let's learn French. 1 year from now, you and I should both speak French a lot better.
All right.
And let's work on it. There are new AI tools that are, Google has a new one where you just go in. It's like a chatbot type thing, but you say, "Oh, I'm going to go to a wedding reception in Paris, and you know, help me learn how to converse in that." And
Mm-hmm.
it'll walk you through conversations about the wedding
Right.
cake and what the bride,
Right.
and you learn all that sort of lingo. That sounds like a really good
Mm-hmm.
approach.
Okay, but you know what I was doing
But
at this wedding reception? So they have very, very
drinking champagne.
long, long weddings. So the cocktail hour is not an hour, it's 3, it's 4, it's 5. It's like
Wow.
everything is long. So you're stuck.
Wow.
And so at this cocktail hour, they had a game. They had printed packets. It was like all on a lawn on this like beautiful property and split everyone into random groups. And I was split up, my whole group was French and I couldn't speak to them. And they were doing
Hmm.
this
Yes.
really elaborate puzzle game. It was like a logic, you had to crack codes basically, get to the next level and open envelopes that would get you to the next level. And it was like this deep challenge game. And my team
Yeah.
seemed very good. I could tell they were opening a lot of envelopes. So I was like, well, I want to
Yeah.
stick around, but I don't know what the heck is happening. But
Yeah.
that's where I'm just like, like, I can't win. Like, I would
Yeah.
never learn that. Like, no
Yeah.
one wants to talk to me about the wedding cake. Like,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
it's
The
just
worst
tough.
the worst thing about that whole scenario is that it's a cliche that Americans don't speak foreign languages, and you
I
hate to be
know.
that cliche.
And I am that cliche, but I'm like,
Me
anyway,
too. But we will be in Venice. We'll be in all over, northeastern Italy, and so
cool. You can see if
I
there's
really.
signs of Jeff Bezos's wedding that I bet they
Oh
like
yeah.
spray painted him and,
Yes.
defaced his image.
Yep. And right now is the Venice Film Festival,
Oh,
so
cool.
all the American celebrities are there. But hopefully that'll clear out by the time we get there. We've been there before. We've been in Venice, staying in Venice, while they're simultaneously had the uh, fashion week or something like that, and
Hmm.
also the anniversary of the city. and there was like multiple huge events
Awesome.
going on at the same time, and it was just. It was, it was a lot of yachts, and you couldn't hire a boat, and it was a lot of too many people going
That's a
on.
lot for an Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, it's a lot
Too
for
much to
one
focus on.
Inspector Gadget. Yeah, exactly. Well,
All right.
I think
Time to say au
we've
revoir.
yeah, I think so. Let's do it, and I think you're gonna close it out for us because I started the whole thing.
All right. Well, that is a wrap on the Super Intelligent Podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. As you know, we don't have any ads. We're pretty low key about this whole thing. All we want is just to share it, like it, give us 5 stars. Spotify, we're still working on getting more stars there. And we just thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.